and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my March book review slash month review. For March I did read 8 books. 6 of them are part of the series though, so it might be a bit long-winded this video. I'm sorry. I can talk a lot in the series. I have a lot to say about. I have got my phone with me as well with my notes about each book, because I don't know if you guys have worked out yet, but I have like a terrible memory. I can't remember things, and because I read books so like bam 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 bam, I just get muddled up, I get confused, I forget, like how even now I'm losing the train of thought. Like, that's terrible. So I'm gonna tell you a bit about the first 2 and then I'll get into the series. All of these I think I got from a charity shop, by the way. So these books both cost 75p each. This one is called Barefoot in the Dark by Lynn Barrett Lee, and on the back it says, "It's Monday morning, it's raining, she's late again, so when Hope Shepherd promptly loses her train boarding a train, it's pretty much business as usual. She's newly divorced and things going wrong is a whole way of life. When DJ Jack Valentine finds it, however, it seems fate is at last about to smile on them. He appeals to the listeners. Is his Cinderella out there? Thrown together as Jack helps with Hope's charity's fun run, their mutual attraction is too strong to ignore. But are either of them willing to risk heartbreak again? Charting their first tentative steps in a post-marriage landscape, Barefoot in the Dark is a bittersweet novel about picking up the pieces and falling in love." I gave this book I think about 5 out of 10, I'd say. So basically, as it says, they both divorced. Jack finds Hope's trainer. He puts it on the air, she says, "Yes, mine, but since you're a celebrity, will you do our charity run?" Because Hope works for a charity for heart disease. They sleep with each other. Then they have loads of fights, like they keep falling out and fighting with each other because he wants to be with her, he wants to like see what happens, but she's like, no, I don't want to risk it, I don't want to do anything. And the sunlight is like hitting directly at my eyes. I think I need to like sit like this. The sun is like hurting me if I start to squint, that's why. It turns out his father's like dying, and then in the end they basically just, you know what's going to happen, they get together, they make up. Father dies though, and it's really weird because the dad is on his Jack's dad is on his deathbed, and that's when Hope basically realises she wants to be with him and they get together. Like, yeah, it's a really weird ending, but it's a happy ending which you knew would happen. So that is that book. Okay, the next one is Mistress by, I can't read the author's name because it's in cursive and I can't read that. Is that I don't know, something McCutcheon. I don't know, I can't read it. Can't read it at all. I really should have worn my glasses for this. So this one actually I was very disappointed with. Ooh, my books are falling off my lap. So, Mandy Sanderson is turning 30 and has everything going for her. Dark ebony hair, flashing black eyes, flawless skin, and a job she loves. Yet, so far, true love has eluded her. Then, on the night of her birthday party, surrounded by friends she adores, Cupid strikes as Mandy and the gorgeous Jake Chaplin lock eyes across the restaurant and fall for one another in an instant. Jack is confident, successful, oozing with sex appeal, and utterly irresistible. He is also married with 2 children, and Mandy has always sworn not to break her own golden rule: never encourage a man to play away. Jake is used to getting what he wants, and this time it is Mandy. He is determined to win, and with Jake, seduction comes in more ways than one. No, okay. So this was terrible. I'm gonna say that. I think I gave it like a 1.5 out of 10, possibly even a 2 out of 10. So, she meets him. They get together. She's like, "Oh no, I can't be with you, you're married." They get together. They have sex. They continue to. They fall in love. It also there's like a gazillion stories going on in one in this book, because Mandy's sister, her husband, is cheating on her, and they split up. So it's a story within a story, because it's about Mandy's sister and her relationship failing, and then her sister basically tries to kill herself, she overdoses, and her recovering and everything, and then Mandy is also the mistress with Jake, and yeah, and then Jake leaves his wife, Mandy gets pregnant, and then Mandy realises that this isn't, and her and Jake move in with each other, and then they realise that this isn't right. So Jake goes back to his wife and his 2 kids, and Mandy stays as a mistress with her and Jake's child. So Mandy decides, right, I want to be a mistress for the rest of my life, basically. It was a terrible book, and also it wasn't written very well, and like I said, it was like loads of stories in one, and it weren't the greatest book. I thought, like, just by the blurb, I was like, oh, it sounds like an interesting book, it sounds like a ooh la la kind of book, but no, not the greatest book. And then we've got my series. So these are I've forgotten what series they're called now. Is it the I think it's called the Drake Chronicles, if I remember correctly. I got these for 50p each and there's 6 books, so all I had to pay was £3 for these books. But yeah, I think it's the Drake Chronicles, and they're by Alexandra Harvey. And I'm going to try and do this right. Scroll to the beginning. Okay, so the first one. These are like my favourite all-time book, one of my favourite books, I think. So the first one's called My Love Lies Bleeding. Okay. Solange, I'm sorry, I'm going to say her name wrong, but this is how I think you pronounce it. Solange? Solange has always known she's a vampire, and as the only female vampire ever born, not initiated, she is surrounded by danger on all sides. From other vampire tribes who want to take her blood into their lineage, and from the bounty hunters who are set on destroying her and her family. When she is kidnapped, it's up to her elder brother Nicholas and best friend Lucy to save her. But can Lucy save herself from Nicholas, who tempts her with every look? What will be her own fate if she surrenders her heart to a vampire? I think I gave this like a 9 out of 10. I really like this one. So, the vampires, some vampires, like the real like old school vampires, are actually born vampires. It's in their lineage, it's in their blood. And the other ones are, like, it's only the ancient ones that are born vampires, all the others that get made. Solange is the only girl in her family, the Drakes. I think there's like a map or something. Have I got it? Yeah, there's a family tree. Ready? Oh, there you go, there's a family tree in that one. So, I don't know if you can see that. So she's the only one, and there was a prophecy for that Solange, the female in the Drakes, will become queen. So people are after, they want to kill her because the other vampire queen was like, no dude, she's going to like take over and everything, I can't have that. So loads of stuff happens in it. Lucy is her best friend and a bit of a and is a hippie. And they have things called, that like their hormones and like their pheromones, is it pheromones? I don't know what it's called, what's the word? Mine's gone blank. But they basically set off a vibe, these vampires do, which makes everyone go like, fall in love kind of thing over them. And Lucy doesn't get affected by it because she's grown up with a family. But yeah, but the youngest brother, Nicholas, who is the youngest out of the brothers, because she's got 6 brothers, but Solange is the youngest out of the whole family, so it's one of her older brothers, which is what it says in the book, but he's the youngest brother out of the brothers. He's in love with Lucy. He has always been in love with Lucy, but has never said anything. Him and Lucy have a tease relationship, they're always teasing each other. And basically Solange gets kidnapped, and then there's a big fight to save her before she dies, because when she's up to her 16th birthday, she's just human, but then the ancient ones transition into vampire on their 16th birthday. That's when it starts to happen. And they have to like do stuff before that happens because they die and then become vampire, but if they don't transition properly, they just die. And there's a big fight about it because this other vampire, Montague, wants her, and basically is after her and wants to marry her, and he wants to become king. So it's a big fight. In the end, she gets rescued and she falls in love with a vampire hunter, and I've forgotten what his name is. That's so bad. Why don't I think it's on there. Oh, Kieran. There you go. I told you I have a bad memory. She falls in love with Kieran, who's a vampire hunter, and he actually saves her at the end, and her mum ends up becoming queen. So the next one is Blood Feud. It's been centuries since Isabeau, it isn't Isabel before I say it, I think it is Isabeau, Saint Croix survived the French Revolution. Jesus, what's going on my side? Now she's made her way back to the living and must face the ultimate test by confronting the evil British lord who turned her into a vampire and left her buried for 200 years. That's if she can control her affection for Logan Drake, a vampire whose bite is as sweet as a rain she seeks. So Logan is, I think, not the older, he's like the middle vampire. Yeah, he's the middle, like, boy. And basically the Drakes are now royalty, like I said, because Solange's and their mother becomes a queen. And this is one thing I like about the series, it's all set after each other. So this one is set about a week after the first book. Isabel is a hound princess. So the hounds are a different type of vampire. There's loads of different ones. You've got vampires, you've got the hounds, which have 2 sets of teeth, I think, and then the Hellbelars, which have got like 3 sets of teeth, and blue, and they're like really evil, the Hellbelars. But the hounds keep themselves to themselves. The evil vampire Montague is still trying to marry Solange. Isabel's attracted to Logan. They get marked. There's a thing that the hounds do where they have things. They read the bones, and in the bones it says that Isabeau was to be with someone from the Drake family, and that's like, yeah, as much as they're going to be together. It's quite interesting because throughout this we have flashbacks of Isabeau's life before she was a vampire in the French Revolution, which was really cool. And they have Logan has to complete a trial in order for him and Isabeau to get together. There's a big battle at the end, and then that's pretty much it. I said, I can't tell you too much. This is me trying to summarise it, and I'm not doing a very good job, am I? So the next one is Out for Blood. This is set a couple of weeks after book 2. Okay, so Hunter Wilde, a vampire hunter and star pupil at a top secret Slayer Academy, has a crush on a guy called Quinn. He's tall, dark and very handsome. He's also a vampire and one of the infamous Drake brothers at that. As if forbidden love wasn't bad enough, something strange is also happening at the Helios Academy. That's the vampire hunter school. Vampire attacks are increasing, students are mysteriously falling ill, and the teachers seem completely clueless. It's up to Hunter and her friends to put things right. That is, if she can get a certain immortal out of her head long enough to think about anything else. I forgot to say, I gave book 2 a rating of about 7.5 out of 10. This one I think I gave a little bit higher. I think I gave it an 8 out of 10. So, it's set a couple of weeks later, as I said. Solange is struggling not to eat Lucy. She's basically distancing herself from Lucy because Lucy now smells really nice because Solange is a vampire. And newly turned vampires just want to eat everything, and Lucy smells and smells really nice, and she's like, I want to eat you. So she's distanced herself from Lucy. People at the vampire hunter school are taking these really suspicious vitamins, and they're making them sick, and the hunters are slowly being killed off. And it turns out that they were designed to kill the weaker students and the vampires, because any student that had it in their system and then got bitten by a vampire, the blood would then kill the vampire that had bitten them. So Quinn and Hunter work together basically to work out what's going on, and they basically get together at the end. It's kind of cute, I liked it. The next one is Bleeding Hearts. It's not easy being the new girl in town, and Christabel, I can't say that last time, it's certainly that. She's new to Violet Hill, new to country life, and new to vampires, which, considering she's Lucy Hamilton's cousin, is going to prove problematic. Lucy's boyfriend is one of the Drake brothers. Her best friend is a Drake princess, and all of the Drakes are vampires. But they aren't the only undead in Violet Hill. The town is infested with a very different, entirely more dangerous type of vampire, the Hellblair. And when Christabel is kidnapped by the leader and held to ransom, the Drakes are forced into action. I think this one was a 7 out of 10. So, the Drakes are all pushing Lucy away to protect her. She's become, like, they don't want her to get hurt because things keep happening to her, so she's feeling really down and everything. Her cousin gets sent to live with them because her mum's an alcoholic, I think it was, and she's in rehab, so she's living with Lucy at the moment. Lucy is hanging out with Hunter a lot and being taught how to do self-defense and everything as a way to distract her and a way to keep her safe. The cousin, Christabel, ends up getting kidnapped because they think she's Lucy because she's in Lucy's car, and it turns out, obviously, she's not. Connor ends up trying to rescue her. Connor is one of the Drake brothers. He is also Quinn's twin, and basically he's very geeky, keeps himself, and he kind of gets with Christabel, who's also quite geeky. She's very into poetry and all that kind of stuff, and they start to become friends, and then Connor likes her and goes to rescue her and everything. However, bad stuff happens when they get he tried to rescue her. He gets catched at his court as well. It turns out the kidnappers want a treaty and want to be welcome into the vampire society thing, because they're a different type of vampires altogether. Ends up having a fight, and then Christabel ends up getting turned into a vampire because that was the only way to save her, because the Hellblair attacked. And Lucy ends up joining the Vampire Hunter Academy. So the next one is Blood Moon, and I can still taste his blood, Lucy. I can smell it everywhere. It's in the grass, in the air on me. I'm not safe. When the vampire tribes convene for the rare blood moon ceremonies, Solange Drake is plunged into a battle with her feral nature. The Drake brothers had been raised knowing they had to protect their younger sister at all costs, but forbidden magic and a mysterious stranger put all of them in terrible danger. Nicholas is going to have to make a difficult choice between his girlfriend Lucy and his little sister. Blood or love? I really like this one. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10. Just to say, I'm obsessed with Lucy and Nicholas. I really like their relationship. So, Solange attacks Kieran, her boyfriend. They end up splitting up. She's getting really strong, and her attitude is she's changing. She's acting really weird. And there's this guy called Constantine who's kind of encouraging her to go to the dark side. Nicholas gets kidnapped and is being used as a lab rat, but we don't really learn much about it until this book. Lucy has a big meltdown when she finds out Nicholas gets kidnapped. She does make some friends in the academy though, but also gets bullied. Solange has a voice in her head, so there's a voice in her head called Viola, and she's trying to take over Solange's body. She's also encouraging Solange to do bad things, and also Solange has a weird thing with bats where she can control the bats for some reason. No idea why. You don't really learn properly why. It's more to do with like her powers and everything, but there's one thing that's never really properly mentioned throughout the books. At the very end, Nicholas returns and Solange makes him drink from Lucy, which is never done, and Kieran ends up rescuing her. And then that's basically how it ends, with her being taken away from Nicholas and Solange and Kieran trying to calm Lucy down. I really enjoyed that book though. It was really good. And then the final one was Blood Prophecy. Solange Drake will deny her birthright. She will not be queen as vampire tradition dictates, but change always comes at a cost. Consumed by visions, Solange commits her crimes against the vampire tribes. Trust is broken and the treaty between the Drakes and the Hell-Lewis Ray Academy is threatened. To fight for the fate of the royal crown and win, Solange must find the strength to unfold time and memory and free herself from the mind of vengeful 12th century witch. Her destiny and her heart depends on it. So, I gave this one, I think it was like an 8.5 out of 10. So, Solange was stuck in Viola's mind. So, Viola's finally been able to take over Solange's body. And it turns out that Viola is actually the firstborn female in the Drake lineage. But no one knows about it because their like great aunt, who's like in charge of the Drakes, never told anyone because she knew about it as well. And she actually was like one of the reasons Viola died. Lucy has figured out that Solange is possessed, and that she works with the other Drakes and with the academy, the guys from the academy, her friends, to try and help Solange, and Solange has to battle Viola to get returned to her body and everything. It's really interesting how they do it, because one minute you're Solange and next minute she's Viola. One minute you're reading and Solange is in Viola's head and then like locked up, and it's really clever how she's written this book. It finds out that Nicholas' kidnappers had a plan all along, that they were hoping that he would lead them to the Blood Moon camp where they could have a final battle with like the hunters wanted to kill all the vampires, and it's a final big battle with Hope and the hunters, and everyone helps each other, and yeah, it's a big battle. But I forgot to say that Hope is a really bad like vampire hunter who they thought was dead, but she was the one that kidnapped Nicholas. And in the end it had a really sweet ending, like a really nice, how it ends is just perfect. I think like they're all like safe and the battle's been defeated, and it's a really cute ending. I really liked it. But there you go, it feels like I've just spoken for ages. I probably got tongue-tied quite a bit. See, I'm glitching. When I talk too much and try to talk about books and everything, I go a bit over the top. But I seriously love that series. Like, I get really into those sort of books and I really loved them. I highly recommend it if you like vampire books. I know they came out in like, what, 2010 or whatever, but I found them in a charity shop, but I hadn't seen them before. Obsessed with them. They've also inspired me to try and do a canvas painting of the Blood Moon and everything, because I thought it was really cool. And like I said, I really love the story of like Nicholas and Lucy. Like whenever their parts became in the books, I was like, oh, I have to read it. I can't stop reading it, and I couldn't stop reading it until I got to the next chapter. And it was quite cool because the chapters alternate. So one minute is like, so it's Lucy's views, next minute is Nicholas' point of view, and it like alternates depending on the book. So when it was Connor and Christabel, it was Connor, Christabel. And I just really liked how they were written. They were really written really well, and I highly recommend them. And like I said, I was obsessed. I read them in like a week and a half, I think. I just could not put them down. But anyway, that was my book review. I've nearly finished my first book for April, so that's a good start, I think. It's one good thing about being locked down. I'm going to be reading a lot. Anyway, so March review. How did March go? The beginning of March was quite good. I started to learn how to carve the meat of a carvery at the pub, which for me is exciting because it means I can start like being behind the carvery when our main cook wants to go on holiday and everything. I went clay pigeon shooting. I sucked, but I went and I really enjoy shooting a gun. Sounds bad, but I really enjoy clay pigeon shooting even if I suck, because I can't see the disc. I need like a brighter coloured disc, or need to try and do it wearing my glasses or something. I don't know. I just can't see it, but I really enjoyed it. What else was like positive? I started to learn to paint, which I was really happy with. I've done 2 canvases now and I'm super proud of them. I'm excited to learn how to do more, and like I said, I'm excited to do my Blood Moon canvas. I'll have to show it to you guys when I finish it. It'll be in a vlog probably. And then that was it. The rest of March, the second half of March has been a bit crap because of this whole COVID-19 virus thing, being in lockdown. So nothing fun's happening, nothing's good's happening. It's depressing, it's lonely. And let's just hope it doesn't end up being for the whole of April. But there you go. I have talked for way too long. I apologise if you've got this far. Well done! Have a cookie, and I will, see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe. I put up videos twice a week, plus extra ones at the moment during this lockdown, of vlogs as and when. I don't know, I'm just uploading whenever I can be bothered. And if there's a book you want me to read, let me know in the comments below, and I will check that out. I will get it. I'm actually getting through my list. I am going to have to start to purchase new books soon, so let me know if there's a book you want me to read. And yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever the time of day is. I hope you've been smiling, because that's the most important thing. And don't forget to stay safe. See you in my next video. Bye.